All right, guys, good morning. Good morning. Welcome aboard to the Morning Note. My name is Carlos Garcia, founder and CEO of GAR Capital. Thanks so much for taking time out of your day to join me this morning and every morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the YouTube channel. I got some of your comments yesterday regarding some freebies, so I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of kind of a segment to the Morning Note where I'm going to put the stock I'm watching or stock I'm watching for the day. And I think that would be kind of interesting to go from there where we could just kind of talk about a stock that was on my radar and then kind of seeing the levels I'm looking for. And we'll go from there. If you guys want to track that, that's cool. If not, that's fine too. But again, just more info for you guys is always the best when it comes to this channel because it's all about learning. It's all about understanding why things happen the way they do and kind of setting yourself up for the future. All right, let's go ahead and get to it. Round the horn, Dow futures down 43, NASDAQ down about 0.5%, S&P down 0.32, Russell down 0.36. Crude oil is down 1.77%, gasoline futures 0.83%, $2.49 a gallon. 85.40 for crude oil futures. Gold futures are up about 0.30%, 1782. Silver futures up nearly 1%, 2172. Euro dollar is up 44 pips, 103.91. Again, way above parity. 139.69, up 38 pips for the dollar yen. Pound dollar is down 12 pips, 118.54. Bitcoin is down 3% this morning on the future side, 16,200. 1181 for Ethereum, down 4.66. I believe Gemini reported that they're not doing any more lending for crypto. I am a crypto investor now for years. I've never traded crypto on margin or borrowed money for it. My take on Bitcoin and all that stuff is protect your assets. My altcoins, I don't have an actual ledger for my alts, so that's on Coinbase. You know, the graph and all the stuff that's really much down. Like sushi, that's down. But my big boys, Ethereum and Bitcoin, you guys know that's in a hard wallet. You know, that's there hanging out there. That's in my cold storage. That's not going to be in any kind of broker unless I'm planning to sell, which I'm not. So again, I'm still dollar cost averaging on those. A lot of people have asked me. That's the only reason I'm answering on it. Do I think that Bitcoin will soar tomorrow? No. But I've had Bitcoin, and my journey with Bitcoin has actually been a kind of a fun one. 2015, my buddy told me about it, and I've owned it since when it was around, God, when did I buy my first Bitcoin? I think it was around 3,000, got to five. I had some friends about it that were asking about it. I told them about it. We sold around 18,000, not at the top exactly, sold some, but I still held mine. And over time, I just kept buying little by little. The biggest time that I bought Bitcoin, I bought a full one at 9, and I bought a full one at 13. And then I sold a Bitcoin to close on my home. That was back in 2001 when I bought my house, which I'm sitting in right now. So, big shout out to Bitcoin for, kind of, it's just an asset. It's just an asset that gains value at the end of the day. If it did some good things for you as well, if it did some good things for you as well, then take it as that, guys. It's just an asset. Again, if you ever need the money, just sell it, man. You don't have to be a hodler forever. You do what works for you. You know, keep your eyes on your own paper. What other people do with their money is none of your concern. And just think of it that way. If you are tired of crypto and you say I'm over it, sell it immediately. Have a better sleep at night. If you're the type of person that's just going to hold it forever, like me, you really don't even stare at the prices unless you're trading it. Again, this is different when it comes to options and stocks. I trade those, but crypto, I can't say I trade crypto, but I definitely own some. Remember, we bought some Ethereum back at 900. We added some Bitcoin right around 18.3. We broke below that on Bitcoin, but Ethereum, we're still green on our buy, at least that. So, there's always some positives here and there. 10-year Treasury yield 3.74% and falling. Good sign. The dollar needs to play ball. It's 106.29. It is pretty sickly flat, and the VIX flat. Welcome to Frustration Station. That's what I've been seeing the headline on Twitter from a lot of traders, or choppy zone. S&P, my favorite representative. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we have been between 40.40 and 39.70. We've been around a 70-point range in terms of chop. Not a lot to do there, at least on the indices. We hit QQQ calls yesterday for about 91% profit. So well done. We took those in the morning. So a nice, good start to the week so far. Kind of chill. Nothing really crazy out there. Not a ton of risk because it's just been just a chop fest. We've had PPI sales yesterday, which beat. We had retail sales today, which beat. Let's go over that number. Retail sales today, this month. In October, 1.3% in October beats 1%. That was according to Bloomberg. October retail sales, excluding autos and gas, 0.9% month over month, estimated 0.2%. So that's great. US Retail Control Group sales rise 0.7% month over month, 0.3%. Target had their earnings. Now, I am a shareholder of Target, so we're going to go ahead and pivot the retail sales number to Target. MasterCard had an interesting note regarding on CNBC yesterday, talking about the consumer still being strong and that they expect a strong holiday season. We just had our retail sales beat on the core side, which is actually pretty strong. The problem is that we do have a consumption problem, meaning that with more people working, lacks labor force. Labor force is still very tight. Labor market is very tight. So again, people are still spending. People are still consuming. The question is, does that last forever? Well, it's been lasting so far this year, even with high inflation. Here's the note from Target as well. Quote, with high rates of inflation, I'll go ahead and move this over. With high rates of inflation continuing to erode purchasing power, many consumers this year have lined up borrowing or dipping into their savings to manage their weekly budgets. But for many consumers, these options are starting to run out. So, is the consumer healthy? Well, based on October, it is. We also had a revised higher in September as well. So, again, we had a revision. So, here's the other ones. Excluding automobiles, gasoline, building materials, and food services, retail sales increased 0.7% last month. Data for September was revised higher to show these so-called core retail sales rising 0.6% instead of 0.4% as previously reported. So again, very strong numbers in terms of retail. Target did beat on revenue, missed on profit. They had to let go of more inventory. We talked about that in the investment club, that now we're starting to get into bloated inventories. Prepare for some really nice deals for Black Friday if you're one to shop on Black Friday or Cyber Monday, because a lot of these retailers, Amazon, Walmart had a great quarter. Home Depot, their average cost of goods bought per ticket was higher than last year. But again, that's more inflation spending than anything else. According to Home Depot, their stock was down as well. Lowe's did beat on the top and bottom line. So again, in regards to Target, and I own this stock, my average price I just added to it was 155.78. I don't have tons of shares, but again, I do own Target shares, and it does pay a nice dividend. So again, not a tons. I just added some. So let's go look at the daily, what we're going to do. So again, it pretty much just rejected that 200-day pretty to the T on the daily. So again, kind of a double top here at 180. That shows our near-term resistance. We're trading now around 151. If we get to 147.42, now you actually have a decision to make. You can always close out of here because we're just filling this gap here at 149.35. Excuse me, there's a gap to fill here at 151.29. So that gap is filled. We may just get a little bounce right, maybe back to around 155. If you're someone that wants to be a really quick sniper trader, you're probably trying to buy calls at the open to get that reversal. You're not going to get a lot of volume. Those spreads are going to be wacky. As a shareholder, I'm looking to around that 145, 147 level. If 147.42 does break, we may continue to roll over, maybe get down to 140. Would that be a place where I may want to cut some target? Possibly. I personally am not, but again, we can give that option. We did hit some highs on target on the investment club. Let me get the exact setup, and I talked about it there. Um, and again, I can't say we did a ton of shopping, but we do have a couple of things to go over. So I put this up on November 11th. This is before the actual earnings. I go, we're up on our buy 18.5%. Time for some choices. And again, it's all about, making decisions. It's all about options for you guys. Again, I don't want to tell you what to do more than just tell you what's the environment, and you guys can make a decision, door A, door B, door C, because everyone is different. Everyone is absolutely different in terms of their investing. So target here, we were up 18.5%. That's on 11th of November. We'll go to the hourly. That was just a couple of days ago. So again, it gives you a little bit of an idea. The 11th was, I believe, on Wednesday. We were right here, right around 164. So again, you didn't exactly get the highs yet. 170.14 was the resistance on the daily. Again, you can close there. You could take some profits here and move on. That was right around here is where we sent this note. That's where you could get out. If you took it out there, great. If you didn't, that's fine. You break 181.38, that's a 200 MA. You can close there for 28% gain. That was yesterday. So if you went by that and you closed out target, you got 28% profit. or I went ahead and wait for the break of 170.14. I'm going to go ahead and add to the position. I'm going to go for that 209 level, which is the gap fill. So that's what I have. I didn't close it. I'm still holding it. Some possibly did, some possibly didn't. But the idea is to show this illustration is that to show that there's options out there. You don't have to hold forever. You can do it the way you feel like is best. A couple of trades open as well. Here's the one stock that I want to take a look at for you guys for the day. So I guess my stock of the day. And I saw some unusual options activity on Qualcomm. And Qualcomm yesterday, I believe, was trading at around 2 p.m., 26,000 in volume for the 171 contracts, 131 contracts calls for this week. I did buy some personally, and there is a gap to fill here at 132.31. Nvidia does have its earnings today. Maybe they're expecting a big boost in terms of Qualcomm, possibly some news. Here's some news that came in today. NVIDIA is announced a multi-year partnership with Microsoft, quote, build one of the most powerful supercomputers in the world, AI supercomputers, powered by Microsoft's Azure Advanced Supercomputing Infrastructure combined with NVIDIA GPUs. With that headline coming out, you could see that Qualcomm is starting to bounce a little bit. The reason it's down is that Micron falls on 5% on its latest warning. Again, well, that's sector specific. They cut DRAM and NAND wafer starts by 20%. The company's reducing DRAM and NAND wafer starts by 20% versus the fiscal fourth quarter of 2022. These reductions will be made across all technology nodes where Micron has meaningful output. Micron is also working on additional capex cuts. If you're starting to notice that a lot of companies with their stock being down are starting to cut back on expenses, that really means labor. So we're going to start getting a little bit of a balance in terms of labor wage pressure, and that's going to cool inflation, which is actually a good thing. Let's see, industrial production falls 0.1% month over month, estimated 0.1%. So that's a meet when it comes to that. But in regards to Qualcomm, again, I did see that big volume. That's the stock I'm looking for. I do have some calls, not a ton of risk. I didn't signal it just for the fact that it's very, very risky. 132.34 is really the gap fill target. I have the 131 calls for this week. I did not put a lot down, but again, there was a lot of volume there, and that's my stock of the week. In terms of what else I'm watching this week is really the dollar. And again, guys, you're just going to chop around. That's where we've been going. Semiconductors have done okay. I've done exceptionally well. Excuse me. Industrials, energy, healthcare have done fine. Again, discretionary hasn't come around as of yet. Tesla and Amazon being a part of that. But again, those when you start seeing rotation to more discretionary, the thing that jumped out at me the most was that Warren Buffett bought some TSM, and then TSM announced that Apple is going to be using their chips. So I think Warren Buffett is really getting the ecosystem of Apple. Apple being my personal biggest holding, that's a great sign too. TSM and semiconductors are very cyclical. So the fact that Warren Buffett is buying TSM at this stage of the economic cycle is either saying that we're kind of getting out of the bear market or downturn, especially if someone who, like him and his investor stature, is putting money to work like that. The last thing he bought was Oxy, putting a big position in, but he's always railroads and banks, right? Kind of his thing, and energy. But buying TSM here, you're from 60 from 145, you're talking about more than half of the value gone. Not a bad place to get started for Warren Buffett. Who knows where he bought it? Maybe he bought it at 64, 60. But again, that's extremely cyclical. So again, that's going to help the semiconductors. Look at AMD. AMD bouncing now at the 100. It's coming up to some resistance around 8306. So again, if you are an AMD shareholder, maybe short term, you want to take some profit here, not a bad idea, especially with semiconductors, unless you're expecting a breakout. NVIDIA has 182 on the 200-day. On the move on the daily. Target rejected that very cleanly. Two different types of stocks, two different types of sectors we know, but technicals matter. And if in terms of S&P 500 daily, here it is, guys, 4075, that 200-day. We're starting to get closer now where you need to start taking a look at some hedging. Again, you buy protection when you don't think you need it. Don't buy protection when you have to have it. You don't buy protection at the lows. You buy protection near the highs, near levels of resistance. So we start testing 40, 50 again. We're going to have to start switching a little bit and start going short, at least to get back to maybe 39.15. Again, a retest of the 100-day moving average is completely natural and completely normal. You're not going to get a straight shot to the moon. So again, start expecting at least a pullback, maybe to that low volume session in Thanksgiving. Who knows? But 40.75 being that 200-day, that's a level I'm looking for to actually start looking at some hedging, maybe some buying some VIX calls, maybe doing some SPY puts, some QQQ puts, anything that has been running hot, semiconductors, for example, information technology. Those are the names that I kind of want to go ahead and short again, possibly Qs. So we're not there yet. We'll see if we get there. But right now, 4 daily candles of pretty much consolidation doesn't really move the needle. In terms of signals, we have one trade open, at least with the signal side. Let me make sure where we at. We have one trade open. I got some Disney calls, but other than that, we got 2 for 2. Students got a couple of got one more trade open or two more trades open. So again, it's a little more risk, but the Qualcomm I did not send because that's really risky with Nvidia coming. So it's more of a UOA, unusual options activity. Let's answer some questions. Carlos, good morning. Puts or calls on SPY today? There really isn't much to do on SPY. Really, the indices are not moving. You could see just pretty much just chop and frustration station. So I would kind of hold off on SPY. I think there's better setups out there. QQQ right on that trend line. Maybe you can play the 295s. I already hit it this week. IWM, you could see here, it's testing that resistance of 188. I do have calls on IWM. It expires today, so let's see if I can get a nice little pop back to 189.88, and I can close out at least and salvage some premium. But again, just look at that. Frustration station, just kind of stuck within a range there. I'm considering going long DraftKings. I do own DraftKings and I am down on it. Is there a place where you want to take a look at DraftKings to go long? More than likely, I will possibly be adding at 1741. Again, I love DraftKings. I'm a fantasy football guy. I love football. Their numbers are not the greatest, but again, these are high beta names. And you can see that 200-day has been just resistance atop of it. If we can get out of this double top at 1742, then it gets interesting on DraftKings. I wouldn't want to buy until then. I may have missed this, but do you think any movement on Diz, or do you expect to just salvage? I do have Disney, and again, it's just chop. And the good news is that it does expire on Friday. But again, look at this. The past 2 days have just been stuck in a range. Again, really all we need is to break out of 97, get to that 200-day, and see if we can rock it. But again, it had nice volume. Let's see where we go from there. Remember AMD last week, Kevin? That was really red ahead of CPI. It was down 80 something percent. It flipped and we got it. So we'll see what happens with Disney moving forward. Maybe they fire the CEO today and then the stock soars. Who knows? The CEO hasn't been that great. We'll go and leave it there. And I don't advocate for people losing their job. Not my thing. Have a great rest of your day, guys. Again, I'll be watching Qualcomm. That's on my list today. Unusual options activity. Pretty chopped today this morning. Dow down 34, S&P down probably 12. Not exactly a big mover. We'll see what we get for the rest of the day. Retail sales did beat, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for the morning note. Cheers.